Hey, welcome. It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, on whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community, just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Welcome, everybody, to the Labor Day edition of Sunday Live. We've got a special guest star to say hello. That is my youngest. Anything you want to say? Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
All right. Thanks for stopping by. Shut the door behind you, please. All right. So Dirt Dude has been saving up all his questions. I love it, Dirt Dude. Go ahead and just start filing them all in there. And yes, the most important question, what's the right color? Obviously, a personal preference. I'll give you my thoughts on color. If you're looking at let's see, bass boats. Okay, so I don't think it may apply to bass boats, but this is the way and happy Labor Day to everybody that is out there. Hopefully you guys, if you hit the water, you had a safe and good time. But all right, on color. This is the way the owner of the dealership that I worked with looked at color for boats. Now, he was ordering 300 to 400 boats a year, 500 in really good times. His philosophy was this: I can order a blue boat, a black boat, a white boat, or a tan boat, and there's nobody that will not buy it because of the color. Red boats, yellow boats, people either love it or hate it. So red boats and yellow boats got special ordered. So I would throw orange in that same category unless you're in, Austin, Texas, Knoxville, Tennessee. If there's a college, Clemson on the orange, if you're a college or pro area and that color is dominant, then it might be a little different. But overall, red, yellow, orange are colors that somebody might not buy the boat strictly because of the color. But black, brown, or tan, blue, darker blue especially, and white, those are colors that, hey, nobody's going to skip your boat on the resale side because of the color. So on bass boats, I don't think you're going to find any of those off colors, maybe a little bit. I would say the same would apply. There might be, blue and silver. I throw silver in kind of that white black category. Blue and silver it looks sharp. Most of the manufacturers will have their main colors that, Glastron is one that they do some different things. The wake boats, all of those are custom ordered, but that would be my thought on color overall. Stick with, if you're looking for best resale, fastest resale, stick with just a good looking color, but don't go crazy with the brightness. Okay. All I'm going to tell you my local boat dealership head salesman, I want the best. And if he doesn't bring out the blue and silver one, that's right. Don't let him pull a fast one. Welcome, Brian. Hopefully you had a good time up there in West Virginia on the pontoon. Getting me that time of year, stored 3-wall carport. Should I still have it wrapped? Um, the wrapping, it can never hurt, but if you've got your carport, if it's, fairly low, or you can put some side curtains on it just to keep that extra stuff coming in. But I think you probably will be good. 3-walled carport, yeah, I think you're going to be in good shape. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Assuming those walls come down, you're going to be in good shape. The real big reason, Brian, for the wrapping, especially in your type of climate, is when the snow hits it, it's just going to slide right off when you build the uprights. There's not going to be any pooling, and you get it. You keep it from water getting pooled, ripping your canvas cover. When it rips, all that goes in. It's snow and ice. It's cold out, and it's a disaster. Welcome, Boater Tom. Boater Tom said, I need to make he sent me an email last week. I need to make a video on safety things. And then he sent a follow-up email saying, and I discovered that the number one reason why people fall off the boats is because they're peeing off the back. So I've got to work that into a video somehow. So thanks for that, Tom. I always like to get a little something off the wall in a video now and again. So that'd be good. Living the dream from the UK. Welcome. Going international tonight, which I like. Like the blue boats. Hope you buy 10, 11 meter boat in the next year. Awesome. So for us Americans, that's about 30, 33 feet, somewhere around there, with my quick conversion. So living the dream, welcome. If you got a question, just throw it in. And yeah, Brian, you're very welcome, of course. Let's see. Eric Baker was on last couple of weeks, I think. What are your thoughts on Pioneer boats? Really like the look of the Islander center console. Pioneer builds a really good boat. And Eric, I just started to get to finally my best and worst videos. I did bow riders, my deck boat one, the slides are built, my notes are made. I've just got to record it. And then I've got pontoon and center console up are in that. And Pioneer is going to be in my premium tier. They do a 3-piece mold, so they're able to make that kind of the back section. I think on the Islander series they're doing this as well, but they've got a really sharp lines. Their back, how they integrate that swim or the swim decks into the mold with that stainless rub rail. I think it's a sharp looking boat. The fit and finish looked really, really nice. I really liked the Pioneer. I hadn't inspected them before, and I went through them at the Charleston show, and I saw one somewhere else too. It may have been in Knoxville. Seems odd they would have Pioneer there, but I saw it somewhere else too, and maybe it was in Greensboro. I don't remember, but I really liked it. It'll be in that premium level for sure. You want to provide plenty of ventilate. Yes, yes. For anybody that shrink wrap, and then I'm hoping to Mike Mandel from Charlotte Boat Repair. I'm hoping to get with him when he's shrink wrapping a boat or two and do a video on how he does it, why he does it. Link you guys to all the equipment that you need. Talk about the ventilation. Talk about why airflow is important. Talk about why maybe even putting a entrance door, a little zipper door to get in and out may be valuable for you. You can save those and reuse those. You can reuse the vents over and over, I think, in a lot of cases. And but yeah, that is a key to make sure it's dry. Put your dry rid in there as well. I talk about that in the winterization videos that I already have out there, but I think a shrink wrap video could be helpful to a lot of folks, and I'm hoping to get that done sooner as opposed to later. Any thoughts on Janeau models? They are not very popular in the US. They're part of it, I think, is the looks. Janeau models. So Beneteau owns Janeau. And let's see, what do they have wrapped up? So I think under Beneteau is your Glastron, Wellcraft, and those. But let's see, the powerboat, the leader, I think is, it's got a little bit more of the European flair on some of the cruisers. And let's see the NC Sport. Oh, and you guys can't even see this. Here we go. I'm going to go big with that. But yet you'll see that the designs and the lines that you have in them are, let's go to the leader center console. I think this was the one that looked the most American, but it still has a little bit different lines to it. Even you can see it right there. I haven't been to a boat show where they've had them. So the only inspection I've done has been online, Tom. And if just it's something a little bit different about the European lines that they have, even the styling on the striping and stuff. It's just different enough. And I need to get on one. You know, look even at the layout, a little bit different layout than you would see from any other center console in the US. Not bad necessarily. It's just different, and I don't think it's caught on here. They do a lot more day boating in the European markets and the international markets because of the way their water is. They don't have quite the same, the intercoastal waterway in the near shore that we do. Most of theirs opens to open water in a lot of cases. And so I'm going to hold off until I get to inspect some of those more thoroughly. But I think it's the lines, and it's also, the U.S. boat market is very, and the buyers too are very buy American. So the dealers are saying, hey, I can get these boats that are 100% American made or made in the U.S. Going to a French company or a international company. It's my buyers are going to prefer if I can say this is built in the USA. So I think that is against them a little bit as well. Oh, you're welcome, Eric, for sure. For sure. I did not make it to the shootout this year. So Brian's talking about the Lake of the Ozark shootout. It's a race that happens end of July. And no, it was August this year. I was actually back in Nebraska for my 50th, my older brother's 50th birthday party this past 2 weekends ago or last weekend, whenever it was. But I saw the pontoon guy that was ripping on the pontoon, and something happened. I don't know if a steering cable broke or something, but he just took a quick, sharp turn, and he's like in slow motion. He flipped out of his boat, and that boat was doing the death circle, which is why they have their safety lanyard regulation on federal waterways. Now, I would think if you're racing boats that you would wear your safety lanyard just as a regular course of running the race. But that happened. The E-Vision Marine, who I did the video and ran the boat down in Tampa on the pontoon, I ran those same motors that they ran a twin on their own hull design. And they ran a twin 180 horsepowers and ran like 109 on electric engine. So that was kind of cool to see them out there. And then just the other, what is it? Ethanol, and some of the big name offshore boats that just go down there. But unfortunately, I didn't make it this year. Welcome, Corey. Corey's been on the last bunch of them. Tampa Boat Show last spring. They had a big presence. Reported they were selling well. Yeah, I'll listen. I've been in the industry. I go to a lot of boat shows. I talk to a lot of industry folks, manufacturer reps specifically, and everybody has a good boat show when you talk to them. I'm not saying that they didn't sell well. But you'll find them at Tampa. You'll find them in Miami. You'll find them in Fort Lauderdale, the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show coming up in October, which I'm hoping to make it to, where you'll be able to see a lot more brands because the manufacturers are contributing to the presence. It's just not all on the dealer like it is at the Charlotte Boat Show or the the Pittsburgh Boat Show or wherever you may be. So I'm hoping to make it down there and see some more brands, and I'm sure Janeau and Beneteau will have their brands there as well. And I've been to some other industry events that Boating Industry Magazine hosts, the Marine Retailers Association of America hosts, and they've been there. Big, fancy, nice boots. They do it up well. Because they're courting dealers. They're trying to get dealers to buy into the way they're looking. So looking for a 34 to 38 foot motorboat next year. Currently have a small Beneteau, 55 cabin, 18-foot boat, 115 Suzuki. Want to upgrade. We are seeing right now, living the dream. We are seeing the French boats are known for mass production, average build quality. From what I read, I was in Germany. I was at a manufacturer's event, and one of the guys made the comment of, they were speaking of our brands versus Beneteau in this case, or no, it was Janeau actually in this case. And he said, I just tell people, why would you want to buy a French boat when you could buy a German built boat? Like, French engineering has never been anything, which I thought that was kind of a funny way to look at it. But okay, back to you, living the dream. Is we are starting to see our season ends tomorrow, right? So boat sales are going to be on the downward slide as of tomorrow. What that means is that we're going to start seeing more boats on the market, used boats. We're going to see the 2023s are starting to come out. It's going to put pressure. But here's what I'm hearing on new boats is they're still putting price increases in place. So, what did somebody tell me the other day? It was 10% on one brand. And these are major mass-produced brands like Janeau would be in your area. Oh, crap. Why can't I remember the brands? But anyway, one was 10% for 2023. We're going up. This is on MSRP. So, there's some shenanigans going on there. When you put it on MSRP, that doesn't mean that's what the dealers are selling them for necessarily. And another one was 4% per quarter. We're committing our prices are going to be going up 4% per quarter on the MSRP to the consumer. That also 4% to the dealer, probably, unless there's incentives or rebates, or if they need to. That's how they can play that game a little bit. But I anticipate, because we still have issues with new boat supply, that I don't see new boats going down, which means used boats are going to stay flat. Probably. It's not like I just watched the video as I'm getting ready to put my market update video together for right after Labor Day. I want it to come out, but I want to get that data through Labor Day. Here's what I'm hearing on the RV side is the towables you're starting to see going down on the retail sales numbers. They sell a lot more RVs than we do in our industry, and that's more readily available. But the retail dollar amount is going down. Used prices are going down in towables. But when you look at motorized RVs, diesel pushers, vans, sprinters that are converted, those prices are still going slightly up. The difference is they were able to churn out the towables because they didn't have to wait on chips. They didn't have to wait on components as much. They didn't have to wait on the engines and the chassis. Listen, you build your aluminum frame, maybe a steel frame. I don't know how they do it. Some aluminum, some plywood, some finishing touches, some upholstery, and boom, you're churning out those towables like crazy. And they were just overproducing from what I've been understanding. Multiple people that do what I do in the RV side of things, they have a lot more data available to them as well. But the motorized coaches, prices are still up. Why? Because supply's not there. They aren't able to build those as quickly because they can't get the chips, which are holding back the motors, which are, it's a lot more complicated. You've got a lot more components when you have an engine. You've got the, transmission, and you've got all of that stuff that makes it go without being towed behind a truck. Well, now So that's where I see boats are. Is boats are in that same spot where there's still supply issues. There's still manufacturer brands. Now this goes, I'll kick out aluminum fishing boats. Although I talked to a Lund dealer the other day that just got 2022 models in end of August, and he had one more 2022 he was waiting on, and usually they're getting 2022 or 2023s in July of this year. That's when they should be getting them, but he was still waiting on one more 2022 at the end of August, and he was in Nebraska. He was in the slow, they're getting cold after this next couple of weeks. So it'll be really interesting. I'm working on that update, and those are just some of the thoughts, living the dream. Poker runs here, but we don't have the big turbines. Yeah, they run the dirt, dude. Some of the boats down at the Shootout will run over 200 miles an hour in certain classes, and in multiple of those. It's pretty awesome. Jet boat racing, Snake River. Now that is incredible. If you've ever seen the guys, they've got a driver and a navigator, and they're just hauling through these, and the guys telling them which way to go. I've got a buddy here that is now a realtor, but he used to sell at the dealership I sold at, and he runs the tunnel boats. So he runs 200 plus miles an hour in these little tunnel boats. His brother is one of the best technicians in the Charlotte area on Lake Wiley, and they do incredible. He's done a couple of videos. I need to have him maybe come on here or do something with him. I don't know if I've got the cojones to run at 200 miles an hour. I think that would be a little much for me. All right, Sean, welcome, Sean. I haven't seen your name before. Hey, Captain, what's the best way to find a list of dealerships for Pimp Tunes? North Carolina, not sure. Atlanta, they're big lakes just south of me, but it's still a ride. Okay, so Sean, first of all, I'm in just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. So tell me where you are. I may have some dealers that I can say, hey, go talk to these people. I know a lot of the folks in the area. And also tell me what you mean by a pimp tune. Are you talking about a twin engine, decked out $150,000, $200,000 tune? Or what do you specifically mean by pimp tune? Are you just talking about just a badass tune? Because I can probably connect you with some folks if you give me a little bit more. And again, I'm just outside Charlotte. I know some people in Greenville, Atlanta, around Lake Lanier. There's a bunch of big pontoons there, and we'll try to get you pointed in the right direction. Yeah, no kill switch on that guy. I can't believe that. Now, maybe it was just him. Maybe it was faulty. Maybe something happened, but maybe he was in a pontoon. He's like, what's going to happen in a tune? I'm not going to fall out. But yeah, if you're going 100, I think it's probably makes sense. I don't ever wear tell on myself, and I'm sure the safety patrol will get on. I don't wear the kill switch when I'm running a pontoon, but I'm also running 25 miles an hour. If I'm on a federal waterway, I boat Lake Loudon in Tennessee. That's a federal waterway. Lake Wiley's a federal waterway. Because it's the law, I wear it. I think it's unnecessary, but I do it because I have now, from what I do, I have this extra added pressure on me when I boat, that if I pull into a dock and there's people around, I'm like, I've got to do this perfectly, because that's sort of the way I've put myself out there, that I train people with my best boat captain program. But hey, sometimes the wind picks up, sometimes the waves hit you and you're not ready for it. But it's just my paranoia. Like, what if this is the time where I do something really stupid? So I'm on extra high alert. But I do, for that reason, I wear my safety lanyard most of the time when I'm on those lakes. Now that is the deal. Yeah, the electric outboard. It was a year ago, October, that I ran that one. If you watch my video, I did a full video on it and share my experience. But it had this hum that 50% of the people in the boat could hear it. The younger 50%, the older 50% couldn't hear it. At which maybe it was just a tone or a frequency that my ears could still pick up and some other people couldn't. But yeah, it was, but the motor was, it ran a pontoon, it was a tri-tune, 10 of us on it, and we were doing 36, 37 miles an hour, I think. And, it got up and went quick, but the longevity of that charge and the infrastructure to charge your boat on the water, that electric water combination. I think there still needs to be some specific things powered out. Solar is very interesting, I think, and very applicable now. If you're looking at trickle chargers, if you keep your boat on the water, make sure if rain comes, your bilge pump doesn't take a crap because your battery dies. I think there's some interesting applications there for solar, for keeping the batteries charged for sure. So let's see, Sean, what would you consider high hours on a 4-stroke motor if I go the used route? Okay, so Sean, here's the way I look at hours. 1,000 to 1,500 is kind of that's the useful life of a pleasure boat motor. Okay. I take out commercial, and anything commercial is something that's run so consistently that it's serviced on a monthly interval or so versus serviced on a yearly or every 2-year interval for oil changes, gear lube changes, just a mechanic going through it. So the video I did with Mike from Charlotte Boat Repair, where we went through and we did basically an annual service, oil change, gear lube change, fuel filters, oil filter, fuel water separator. He does that on those rental boats every month at a minimum. And he said, we've had motors that we've sold them at 2,500 hours, 3,000. He's like, I think we sold one that was close to 4,000 hours. But that's because he's going through it. He's greasing things. It's running. That's what engines want to do. They want to run. I just changed the oil in my lawnmower, and the carburetor was all gunked up. I had to change the spark plug, change the oil. I had to spray carburetor cleaner in the injectors and try to get it. I didn't want to take it all apart, but get it the best I could. And, it doesn't get run that often. Pleasure boats don't get run that often. Engines want to be run consistently. That keeps the oil through everything, keeps it lubricated. A technician going through, if they see something, they can adjust it. It's not like it's run hard for a weekend and then put up for a couple of weeks. Run hard again for a weekend, put up for a couple of weeks. The gas doesn't get run through it consistently. The oil is dripped down all the way in the pan, and now there's no corrosion protection as if it was run consistently. So I say 1,000 to 1,500 hours. Then you also have how many hours a year are put on. For freshwater, you figure about 50 hours on most 4-stroke outboards. If you're talking about somebody that fishes it hard, somebody that does a lot of wakeboard boats specifically, where they're actually running, they're running fishing or trolling. If they do any trolling fishing, if they're wakeboarding, doing water sports consistently, I mean, they can put 100, 200 hours a year on those motors, because for me, when I go out on a pontoon or a bow rider, I'll run it for 30, 45 minutes, maybe run to a restaurant, hour and a half. But then we're going to sit out in the cove and float and just listen to some George Strait and some Conway Twitty and some Alan Jackson for 3-4 hours. And then we're going to hop back in and cruise back home for 30, 45, an hour and a half. So we're out there for 6 hours, but the boat's only running for 2 hours. So you'll see 50 is kind of for most freshwater pleasure boaters, maybe 100 to 150, 200 is a lot if you're surfing. Now at the coast, you've got a lot more places to go. Maybe you're running 3 hours offshore to go fishing. So those, I'd say 100 to maybe 150 hours a year, depending on how they're running it, would be common. So then you kind of do the math there of how you're going to use the boat. If the boat's got 500 hours on it, well, that's only 50% of the useful life at the worst case, a third if it's going 1,500, assuming you take care of it well. Great, jump on it. My parents bought a rental pontoon that was in a rental boat or a rental fleet down at the Lake of the Ozarks. And I'm like, yeah, you're fine. It's got 500 hours on it, but this dealership maintained it. They've got the service records. They changed the oil and the gear lube and the impeller and all this stuff. And as long as it's not damaged, uh, what do you call it? Visually, cosmetically, then mechanically, it's probably in good shape, even though they didn't know how to drive it and they did all sorts of stuff. But by the nature of who took care of it and how often, you're in good shape. So hopefully that gives you a kind of a mindset to think about hours on used boats. What I don't like is I don't like a 10-year-old boat that's only got 50 hours on it, because now that engine's just sat. That oil has been sitting and what seized up. What hoses now have got cracks in it. What seals are dried up because it hasn't been lubricated. And now I've got more repairs on a boat that you would think, oh my God, it's like a granny's car that's been, a garage find. Well, maybe, maybe not. So those are ones that have very low hours, are the ones that on a test drive it, I'm really going to run that thing hard, and I'm going to run it for a long time, because I'm looking for those things are going to come up because it wasn't run as much. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's see how we're coming along here. Sustainability, welcome. He's got a beautiful Bennington pontoon, a QX. Suggests been looking into converting over to electric. Sounds crazy, but I spent over $1,000 in fuel this season. So think about, absolutely. I don't know what the cost of the eVision Marine, and you actually, I know you commented on that video, sustainability. But let me pull it up for those that maybe haven't seen it. What did I call it? Electric boats. So this video right here, this is me running that eVision Marine. Hey, if you want to join to become a member of the channel, you can always join. And just a way to financially support. There's no benefits other than you're like, hey, I like what this guy's doing, and I wanna support him, which allows me to continue doing it. It would be much appreciated if you're interested in that. But this is the 180 horsepower outboard. When I talked to them, they said our go-to-market strategy for right now is to partner with OEMs. So try to get on the back of transoms. They had talked to Scout when I was there. They are on. Somebody just announced that they were partnering with them and becoming an option that you can order their outboard. But right now, they didn't want to sell them as loose outboards for repowers, because it's more difficult, because now you've got to reconfigure how the battery is going to go. Where's it going to go? If they do it from the outset at the manufacturing facility, it's easier to adjust everything, get all the wiring run and the battery set, so you don't have a list or anything. And that was their go-to-market strategy. And I think they're the ones that are probably ahead of the field in that. I think you're probably sustainability going to be 3 to 5 years out before there's something like this that would run your queue at a reasonable level. And then, what does the cost of electricity look like to power that? What are your infrastructure requirements? But yeah, the fuel costs, it's a lot, but electricity is not free either. So what does that look for? What's the infrastructure look like in your situation based on where you're at? So, and I don't have those answers. I don't. I can tell you that in Tampa at the Tampa Bay Marine, they had a 220 run, and every time they came back to the dock, they were plugging that puppy in, and they had their demos scheduled. And every time, the first thing they did was plug that baby in. So as they were chit chatting and, closing these deals with manufacturers, talking to the press, I consider myself press. There were real press there, but I was there as well. And just chatting to people on the docks, they were recharging that puppy on a 220 line. And then the last thing they did was unplug that as they were releasing the lines and sending the next group out. So I don't know what it took to get all those lines run there, but so it's doable at the dock situation. It's just a matter of what's it like on your dock, which is coming off just a regular house versus coming out of a convention center that does a lot of marine events there. Okay, Bryson. I don't know where Bryson City, North Carolina is, but let's see. Okay, it looks like up by Asheville, maybe. 40. Where are we at? Greenville, Knoxville. All right, so you're kind of right in the middle. I would say when you talk about consider a high end. Okay, so that was Sean. He was talking about the pimped out pontoon. So I would look at sustainability's got a beautiful Bennington. I don't think I've got the image where I can just easily find it, but let me see if I do by chance. He sent me a picture a couple weeks ago. One of the things I am not is organized. So photos, client photos. No, I've got a bunch of dog photos that people have sent me. With the dog days of summer that we were doing, I got some really awesome dog photos, which I loved, from people that was pretty cool. But I don't have his boat, but I would say his is pimped out, for sure. It's a beautiful boat. If you look at, Premier builds, they've got, I think, some of the nicest interior. You've got Barletta, which I think is probably the best. You got Barletta, Harris, Bennington, all build super, super nice tunes. And there are some good dealers in Knoxville. There are some great dealers here in the Charlotte area that I know personally. If you're down, Greenville has some good dealers. And of course, Atlanta, anything down by, when you get down to Lake Lanier, you can see, Lake Lanier right here, which looks like just south of you. There's some really good dealers down there as well. Towables are slowing down for sure. Yeah, it's some of the videos I watch. I just, I watch car videos. There's a car guy that I really like that talks about where the car industry is going. I think paying attention to the RV industry makes sense. They have historically been a leading indicator where boats are going. But with the pandemic and with the supply chain issues, I don't think it's as directly correlated as with just a regular economic downturn, because you still have supply issues on the boat side. You have supply issues on the motorized RV side. The towables are the ones that are seeing it, and they way overbuilt production. And he was telling stories about just having parking lots full of towables that, they're 2022s sitting in the lot and dealers haven't even bought them yet. And 2023s are they're trying to churn those out just as fast. But the boats don't have, we aren't in that situation, because there's been motor shortages and there's still been component shortages. And so pontoon, tri-tune, Lake Lanier. So there's a bunch of great choices when you're looking. I would recommend, if you haven't, Sean, I would recommend that you watch my best and worst pontoon video. I go through all of the manufacturers. Let's see if I can find it here. With over 400 videos now, I don't get to them as quickly and easily. It's not this one. I've got another one that goes into a lot more details than that one, but it's in here somewhere. There we go. Best and worst pontoons. This video is really good. It's 25 minutes long. I've got a new one coming out, or a new one that I'm putting together. that will be coming out hopefully in the next 30 days. But you know, there's a couple new manufacturers I was able to inspect. Crest is one that I was more disappointed in the 2022 models than the other ones, but that's a cue right there. That looks pretty close to Sustainability's, that Bennington. So that is definitely worth checking out. Any ideas what I can do to cover the pit just forward of the engine on my QX Tri-Tune? I slip into it. Yeah, you've got to be real careful. That's designed to be open. Um, I've seen people put some diamond plate over it. You just got to make sure that you don't mess up the water flow that comes through there. Maybe just putting a couple bracings. I would want. I guess it's not as long as it's not sealed. Just make sure there's room for airflow to bubble up through there and for water to come up, and then it's going to drain. There's a little slit at the bottom of the tune where water is designed to flow out. You just want to make sure that there's airflow so that it's got an easy flow out and you don't get any suction going. But I would think you could put something like that there. Bennington QX pontoon. No. I don't know if this is going to show it all that well or not. Yeah, so you can put, let me go big on this. So you can put, you could put something across there. With the way they finish off the Q, I'm not sure if you've got anything to set like that diamond plate on or something across there, but maybe just a couple of slats that if your foot were to hit it, just make sure it's tight enough so that your foot doesn't slip through it if you're barefoot, but make sure that there's some airflow through there that that would work. Maybe some a really, and I think Sustainability, I think you're in fresh water, but it's stainless steel if you're not, and then or something aluminum that would have the strength if you did get your weight on it, so that you didn't cut anything. And then also make sure that whatever you do, the wiring isn't going to be affected, because that wiring, as you're steering, you've got all your cabling coming through. They do a pretty good job of putting it in that chafe resistant tubing, go right into the cowling. But just make sure as you're tilting that engine up and back and turning side to side, that nothing's going to wear and you're not going to cut through a steering cable or cut through that a wire or something like that. But I'm not seeing a great picture of that section. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, but I don't see a big problem as long as you're not cutting anything and your motor can go up and back. All right, now I just lost where I was because I turned his off. Lake Lanier. Okay, there we go. If you're 150, let's see here. If you're a 150 or more on a tri-tune, I can ski. I'm 6'2", 225, and I can slalom ski. I have slalom skied behind a 22-foot tri-tune with a 150 Merc 4-stroke with 3 adults, 3 kids, and one of the adults was over 350 pounds. So, probably 4 or 5 adults, because the other ones weren't super small either. So that would be a good setup. Solar engineer. Okay, interesting. Makes sense with the name. So yeah, I think I think with solar, you probably would know more about getting the power grid set up to charge your boat, because I think you also live on the water. So it would be interesting if you figure that out or do some research. I would be interested to find out what you come up with. Yeah, country music, it's the way to go. If you were my most played channel is classic country on my Pandora. Started off Conway Twitty and was just listening to some Don Williams right before I came on here. So Ron Brewer, welcome. Bought our first boat using info from your videos. Awesome, love it. From Sarina, Ontario, Canada, bought a 69 cutter. Interesting. 20 foot with the Merc, totally rebuilt when I bought it, had 40 hours on it. That's awesome. I'm going to look up what that is because I am not familiar with a 1969 cutter, 20 foot. With 1750 cutter. Well, that's not showing me. Tell me that's it. All right, if that's it, that is awesome looking. If it's this Cutter Boats for Sale, 1962, that is a cool looking boat. Ron, I am glad that that the information you found here helped you make a good decision on an old boat like that. But that is cool. That is super cool looking. Congratulations, man. What are your thoughts on the 22 jet boats for Yamaha? Colin, I like the Yamaha jet boats for the right people. I did a video on that. So this all about jet boat video. I go into why I am a Yamaha fan over the Scarab. I've had subscribers that have I've had subscribers. Brent, I'll get to you in just a second here. We had somebody make a contribution, so I'm gonna push you up to the front of the line as soon as I finish this one here. But this Yamaha video is I go into why I like the Yamaha jet boats, why I chose or why I would go that direction versus other. Um, the 21 to 22 model year, I don't know what they changed that that may have been an issue. Um, but I think if you're going to go jet boat, if that's the right way to go, that Yamaha is a good decision for the most part because they're the leader. Again, I go back to resale value. They're going to be the resale value that is, they're going to be easier to sell. Vortex, not making them anymore. Scarab, still making them, but a tiny, tiny portion of the market share. Although they build, I don't think their boats are any better or worse. I like the Yamaha engines better than the Rotax. From a reliability standpoint, Rotax has more features. Rotax is faster, but I think the Yamaha is more reliable overall. So, but check out this all about jet boat videos, Colin. I think that will be helpful for you. All right, Brett. First of all, thank you for the contribution. I really, really appreciate that. Live in Pacific Northwest, looking for a new ski surf boat. Saw your best bow riders. Malibu was not on the list. Yes, there's a big reason why they weren't on the list is because I put them in a different category, Brent. So the way I view it is, and I think I talked about this a little bit in the start of the video, but I would have briefly mentioned it. You may not even caught it. But to me, a bow rider is a stern drive or an outboard. I think when you get into the Malibus, I call that a wake boat. Okay. So to me, a wake boat is an inboard. It's a V drive. It's the Malibu. It's the Mastercraft. It's the Nautique. It's the Moomba. It's the Supra. It's the it's those boats. The Supreme. Those boats are in a different category. And I don't think it's fair to compare a Crown Line to a Malibu. They do two completely different things. Even the surf Crown Line versus a Malibu, it's night and day. If you want to surf, the Malibu is going to beat every single boat on that bow rider list. Now, I did inspect. I don't surf. I have surfed. I have wakeboard, but I don't consider myself a surfer or a wakeboarder, Brent. So you know, it is I can provide insights on the quality of the build, but the surfability and the wakes, I don't get out on them to be able to say, oh yeah, this, the last surf boat I was behind was a G25. It was amazing, but I didn't drop the rope. So, it really wouldn't have mattered if I was behind, behind a Heyday or a Supreme. It wouldn't have mattered to me. So the Montera, I have met the owner of Montera. I've actually have an outstanding invitation to tour the facility. And I haven't been able to make that happen yet. I've had so many other things in the fire. And thank you again for the contribution. If you do make a contribution, I'll move you up in the line, and it's always very much appreciated. But the Montera boats, I've inspected them. I've seen them out on the water. That's how I got connected with the owner and kind of got to them. They were trying to break the new 20-foot model that they released this year. So the engineering team was out on the lake I was on, and they were running it, trying to do everything they could to break it so they could go back and fix it. Then they take it out again, they fix that, they run it as hard as they can, they surf it, they just pound the crap out of that boat and try to break it again so they can go back, so that when it gets delivered to you, it's the best possible version they could come out with. It's how all new boats are built. And so I talked to those guys, talked to the owner. I've inspected them. I think they are beautiful boats. I think they're great. The way they build. So he was telling me February when I talked to him, they were still having the hulls shipped in from, I think, Singapore, somewhere overseas, and then they were building everything in the States. He was trying to find a US manufacturer to build the hulls. They wanted to bring everything into the States. But there's a certain, they're a surf boat, so their hull is key to developing the right surf wave with all their surf technology. But the fit and finish of the boat I thought was solid. Just the way everything felt on the boat, I thought was really nice. I'll go back to what I talk about with any newer brand, is resale value. If for whatever reason Montera isn't able to maintain, and I have no reason to say why they wouldn't, but if they were to go out of business, that boat's going to be a little bit harder to sell, because there's only a handful of them out there. Even if they were super super successful, they're only building 100 a year, and they've been building for, I think, 3 maybe 4 years under this name and with this design. So that would be a consideration. But I was impressed with what I saw. I would assume when I go to the factory, I'm hoping to do that in the next year or so. I assume when I do that I also get an opportunity to surf it and see what the wave looks like. As far as Formula, yeah, Formula absolutely is a national brand. Again, Formula did make the bow rider list because it's a stern drive and outboard. But I think Formula, one of the best made. I mean, they were my number one in my bow rider review. They are expensive. Their smallest boat's a 24, so they go 24, 28, and then into the 30s. They're expensive. They don't build a ton of boats either, and they have a little bit more of a regional sales approach. So because they're so high end, they have a little bit more of a regional than having a whole bunch of dealers. They'll have a dealer that has a pretty big territory, and most of them are especially now, a lot of them are custom ordered. They're not ordering a ton of inventory on Formula, but they build a hell of a boat. And that's one where the Formula name and the resale, I wouldn't have any concerns about them. Although Formula as a brand has gone through their ups and downs and their bankruptcies, but that brand's always always stood for quality in my mind, and fast and performance and all that. So, and thank you very much. If you got Brent, if you got another question, just throw it out there. Thank you for the contributions for sure. Let's see. All right, now I got to get back up to where we were. Colin, we did. Steve Stephen Safety. Always useful info. St. Lawrence. Welcome, Stephen. I'm glad to have you, and thank you for the kind words. $1,000 club for the season 2. That should be a shirt that I make, the $1,000 fuel club. Although I was with my brother filling up his he's got a twin engine Envision, and I think the afternoon that we filled up, I think it was like $500. So for just a fill up for him. So some boats get there a little easier than others. You have it good on the fuel. Yeah, 190 a liter over in the UK. Yeah, we do have our fuel here in the US compared to some of the other countries is much less expensive. So, Sean, if you want to send me an email, shoot me an email to captain at Boater Secret Weapon. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking for, and I may be able to set you up with a couple dealer names that you can go check out, because you're in my neck of the woods enough that I probably have a few folks that I can connect you with. All right. Edward McGowan, currently a 17 Montauk. Love those. Looking at an Outrage. Thoughts on something similar in size, options, not as expensive as a Whaler. Okay, so the 28 Outrage is their big offshore deep V Outrage Whaler. So when you're looking at the Outrage, you would probably be looking at, any of the center console manufacturers are going to have a big twin engine deep V offshore. I'll call this an offshore center console, something that's got a nice dead rise all the way through. I don't know if it's less expensive, but Regulator, if you're serious fishing and you run through some slop, I think Regulator is tough to beat, and still staying in that, Edward, that premium level. You could go down Key West, Sea Pro, Sea Fox. They make a big like that. But if you love your Montauk and you love that solid feel, you're not going to get that in those more value lines. But if you went down to that middle tier and you went like Sea Hunt or you went Scout, they all make something along those lines. You may want to check out, this is my opinion of where they fall. And I've got a new one coming out, is the best and worst center console. If you can see that right there. But this video, I go through, I don't know how many brands. They're the mass produced brands for sure. I don't know what is going on with my internet, but it is not wanting to go. It looks like this. Watch this video. I say under 26 feet, but if they make a 26, they probably make a 28. But Regulator is the one that jumps to mind right away. You can go, but I don't know that Regulator is going to be much less than that Outrage, if it's even less at all. But yeah, Scout, Sea Hunt is another one that would jump out at me as to be a pretty nice. Let me see. Blackfin would probably be in there. And I'm trying to think, just a cheaper, slightly cheaper level. Contenders probably. I've never had the opportunity to inspect a Dusky, but Dusky, they seem to have a cult-like following. There's a few people that are in my comments are just all about the Duskies, although I've never inspected one, because they're sold a little slightly different. Everglades is an awesome boat. Edgewater is also in there. You've got the Maverick companies like Cobia they've got a nice kind of mid-tier. Sportsman is, that mid to lower tier. So watch that video. I think you'll probably come up with some options that are pretty good. Gas got to $8 a gallon in Florida at one point, down to 5.75 now. 7 miles round trip to that gas dock. Yeah, that's you gotta think about how far to get to that cheap gas. Sean, you're very welcome. I appreciate the kind words. Um, yeah, that's another thing. In I don't know why that is. I guess because diesel is more common, just a more common fuel source overseas. But until you get up to 38, 40 feet here, you're almost always going to have gas engines. And there's some areas where you have to go gas because you don't have access to diesel if you're inland. Some lakes just don't have readily available diesel. Try a heavy mesh, stainless or galvanized. Good idea. I think that was for sustainability. Day trader, thanks for answering my questions a few weeks ago about trailerable cruisers. Stuck with Sea Ray, bought a 250 Dancer, enrolled in the best boat captain on the water. Thanks again. Awesome day trader next door. That those kind of like when I get comments like that, and the guy that bought the um, Ron up in Ontario, when I know somebody made a smart decision, they were happy with the boat that they've got. They didn't make one of the so many mistakes that it's not even like the common mistakes. It's all the mistakes that can be made if you're newer to boating. Invested in the course and had a great experience. I love it. I appreciate it. And anybody that is interested that would like to, um, if you were to go to Google reviews, just Google boater secret weapon and go to the review section. If you would leave a review, hopefully it's a 5-star. Hopefully I've earned that with all the content and the programs that we put out. And just leave your story. I would greatly appreciate that for anybody that was interested in doing that. That is a huge help. It seems what I do is so unusual and seems somewhat scammy. Like this guy on the internet is going to teach me how to drive a boat. How is that even going to work? But if you guys that have gone through the programs and invested in it are like, yeah, it's awesome. I really, this is a real dude. He's for real. He's got kids. He's got a wife. He's got dogs. Whatever. And the training is killer. The training is really good. That is much appreciated. Skateboard grip tape on the sides is a big help too. Yeah, I remember Brian. I think you had mentioned something like that on another one. Sent you a picture earlier this week. I'll have to check that out, Ron. I don't know that I saw that. Um, I'll have to check to make sure that didn't get caught up in my spam somewhere. Glad I found your channel when I decided to buy a boat. Thankfully, bought an '87 Sea Ray. Got a good deal. Nice boat. Awesome. All right. Was that the same guy that bought a 250? No, that's day trader next door. So we got two 250 dancers going. So those 250 dancers were I mean the Sea Ray Sun Dancers in general were a great boat, but those 250s from like the late 80s to the late 90s, actually. I think they renamed it a 260 along the way somewhere, but those were super, super popular. There were a lot of those boats made. And congratulations on that, Tom. Thanks for sharing that. Brent, you're very welcome. Again, appreciate the contributions and supporting what we're doing here. Edward, you're very welcome. The rain main of Captain Matt is the rain main of boat models. I'm going to say the main man is what you meant to say there, but hopefully Brian is just a little typo. Wake boat versus bow rider. Did not see. No, I haven't, Brent. So you know what? I've got one that I don't specifically talk about it in those terms. But here is the video that I did make. Let's see here. Boat types. I really should make this boat types explained. So I go through in this video, Brent. I think it would be a good one for you to check out. Um, So there's multiple ways that you can differentiate the style of boat, and I do it in all of the different ways by the propulsion type. That's how I differentiate the Malibu from the Formula is because it's a different propulsion system, which gives it different characteristics and makes one better for one better for the other. And then boat and hull style is another one that separates it. And the material. So aluminum versus fiberglass, I separate those out, and I go through all of those different things and try to show you pictures. And then like this is the slide where I show, okay, bow rider, deck boat, jet boat, wake surf boat. They're all technically bow riders, but because of their propulsion system, I segment them because a jet boat does something different than an outboard or stern drive runabout or deck boat, and that does something different than a wake or surf boat with their direct drive or V drive system. And their I think it's significant enough difference to talk about it, and I cover it in detail in this video here. So, Brent, I think that's one that that you would find valuable in your search. And it's so easy because there's people will talk about them interchangeably, and the definitions are sort of wishy-washy depending on who you're talking about and in what context. They may call a jet boat a bow rider or a wake boat a bow rider, and it can get confusing. So I feel like I've done a lot of rambling tonight. Oh shit, we're over an hour. Tom, thank you for the channel. Watch many videos. I would love to have you become a member. I would love to see a picture of your 250 dancer as well, Tom, if you just want to email it to me. But if you do want to become a member or just support us, there's on all of the videos, there's this thanks. You can click on that and you can give, if you want to donate $500, I would appreciate it. I've got a lot of investment going on, especially right now. Or if you want to donate $1, that would be great. But you can also join, and you can join for, oh, I didn't know we had a promo going on. I don't know where that came from. But you can also join just as a monthly membership. And again, in this video, I tell you, it's just supporting it financially. That's just saying, hey, this was really valuable for me, and I want to support what you're doing. I appreciate it very much when anybody does support us. It's why we offer the paid programs, is that's really how we make the money. We make a little bit from ads on YouTube, but not enough for me to support my family and do this. So I have to have others. And anything, if you find value, it's always appreciated, but never required. So, all right. So with that said, after that shameless plug for donations and for thanks, let me also do my shameless plug that at this point, I've tried to earn doing this one. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that for sure. Absolutely appreciate that. So the 2 free things that we offer in addition to the 400 plus videos, if you're buying a boat, the Boat Buyer's Toolkit, which is incredible. It's 25 pages. I don't know if Tom or Ron, if you guys use this buying your boats, but this is amazing. This has the checklist, the questions to ask, a bunch of different stuff, trailers, insurance, demos, and that's free. You can get that at boatbuyerstoolkit.com or boatersecretweapon.com. If you're a boat owner, there's so many things that as a boat owner like this, I got this beat up impeller. Oh, you can't see me. I got this impeller from Mike when I was at his shop last, of all the wheels bent off or broken off because it was old, and we were talking about buying cheap parts and whatever. There's so many things that you can make a mistake as a boat owner that you just don't even realize. And we try to cover all those in the Boater Boot Camp. We talk about system and maintenance and fuel water separators and impellers and gear lube and how all that works. We talk about some navigation and some boater safety. We talk about emergency equipment. We just the things that I wish all boaters knew. And that's free as well. You can get that at boaterbootcamp.com. And then we also have the best boat captain on the water. If you struggle actually driving and operating your boat, putting it in the slip, we can help you with that. We've got a single engine version. We've got a pontoon version. We've got tow water sports with confidence. I heard a story the other day about two kids out tubing, and they made a mistake, and one of the kids was killed. I met at my brother's 50th birthday party. I ran into a friend of his that had a friend killed 5-10 years ago on their local lake that they live on in a tubing accident, because people just don't know some of these things. And so I talk about it in there. I'm working on Learn to Ski the Easy Way and wakeboard. That one's coming. Trailer Like a Pro. If you struggle at the boat ramp, that program will fix it. Confident Coastal Boater. I finally have that scheduled the 21st and 22nd with Captain Tim. And I'm pretty confident Captain Tim is not going to bail like the other people I had scheduled. And so I'm excited to get that one done. I'm excited to get that program together. Living the Dream. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. And if you're buying a boat, not only do we have the 400 plus videos on the channel, but we got the First Time Boat Buyers Academy, where we take you through the process step by step, videos to go along with the toolkit. And then the big is the magic money saving method, how to negotiate to get the best price. And that program is awesome. It kind of takes everything down to what you need to. Instead of watching 400 videos, it's boom, here it all is, 7 steps. I walk you through it, and everything comes with my 100% money back guarantee, because you should be happy. If you're going to put your trust in some internet dude that you've never met, never shook his hand face to face, I take the risk, and refunds are 100%, no hassles, no rigmarole, no none of that. All right. So thank you for that time, and we'll just finish up the last couple of questions here. All right, cool. You're welcome. Rain Man of boat models. Now it's Brian. I just saw your. Listen. Some people. This is what I do. Like, my wife comes in here and I'm watching YouTube boat videos. I'm going through Facebook boat groups, and I'm looking at stuff and reading chat rooms, and I'm go to boat shows multiple times. I went to Nebraska and I spent a day. The party was Saturday. Hang up my family, my nieces and my nephews, my brother and sister, my parents, a few high school friends. And but Monday, what did I do? I got in my mom's truck and I drove around Nebraska visiting boat dealers and looking at their inventory, seeing what they had, what their levels were, talking to some of the owners, and just getting a sense for what's the market like outside of the Southeast, where I spend most of my time. And so, yes, I do have a lot of boat models up in my head. All right, Tom. Again, Tom, thank you for that. Rain Man, I got you. I may be a little slow. I know boat things, but there's a lot of stuff I don't. What's your opinion on Splendor catamarans? All right, so I think I know what you're talking about. They were on. They're made out of Indiana, I think. Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. So here is Brian. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad that you ended up finding me and doing the best boat captain and all that before you got. I think it makes a big difference, and I know your confident level from the very first time you sent me that picture with your grandson. It's like, yes, he made the right call for himself. So thank you for that, Brian. Okay, so Splendor. I've mentioned this a couple times tonight. I've never inspected one in person. Okay, so this is all from just seeing this brand. They came up with this catamaran design. I think it was the grandparents of the people that run it now, and he put a little kind of fin like the cats are doing now to break the wave. So it would break the wave, and it wasn't a pound. It was giving it some separation, and I thought they had a good picture of it on here somewhere. But it's sort of like a little nubbin that sticks out that's going to soften the blow. Great technology. It wasn't around before, but now it's kind of common, and Tritoons weren't around before. So they had to have a fiberglass boat to put that big, heavy horsepower on. Now I think Tritoons has kind of eaten what this boat was built for. With that said, if you want a fiberglass boat, if you're like my father-in-law, who's like, I told him a tri-tune with a 350 or 400, I think you would love it. Your wife would love it. But he's like, he wanted a fiberglass boat. That's when he thought a boat, he wanted a sleek fiberglass bow rider. He got a Cobalt Art 5. It's awesome. And it wasn't for him. The pontoon or the tri-tune wasn't for him, even though utilitarian wise, it may have done exactly what they needed. But you buy a boat, you've got to have the pride of ownership, and the looks were important. And he bought one of the prettiest boats on the market, the Cobalt R5, and they love it. They've had it now for 3-4 years, and they love it. My sister-in-law is there right now, actually, probably on the dock right next to it. The Splendor, some of that market got taken away with the tri-tune, but if you like the fiberglass, you like that big, huge front porch on it, which if the kids are going to go swimming, if you like to pull up to the beach and you like the dogs to get on, works great. It's a little bit dated look, in my opinion. That's personal preference, though. Quality, ride-wise, I'm going to guess because their design of that little patented piece in the catamaran gives it a pretty comfortable ride for a cat. Versus the pounding that you used to get in like the Bayliner Rendezvous that kind of had that tunnel hull cat type design. It was really rough and chop because every time you hit a bigger wake, you would catch it and it would just pound. So that's about all I know. I have included them. I know this boat because I put it in my deck boat review, which I've got all built and I just need to record. And I put that one in there. Just like any manufacturer that's smaller, is your resale is going to be a little bit tougher. Your resale is going to be tougher because most people aren't going to know Splendor, maybe in the Indiana area where they're built, but most of them are sold down in the Florida market because pontoons weren't common in saltwater, but this setup was pretty common in the, let me see if I'm right on Indiana. Yeah. Silver Lake, Indiana. But most of the dealers are down in Florida. So pay attention to that. If resale value is important to you, make sure that you're in a market where people are going to know this boat when you go to sell it. Or, hey, I'm going to keep this boat for 20 years. Then it doesn't matter. Then just keep it in good condition and you'll be able to sell it as long as the boat's in good shape. So those are a few of my thoughts there. Living the dream. Thank you again. Let's see. Matt's evening, late to the party. Got a good day at Norris Lake. Rain held off for the most part. Awesome. So Matt, I don't know. You probably know this. My in-laws, that Cobalt that I was just talking about, is down on Lake Loudon, just outside Knoxville, Tennessee. And I have yet, although Norris Lake was on my best boats, I have yet to be on Norris Lake and see that beautiful water that you all have. But somebody, I don't know, it may have been you. Are you the one that sent me the picture of your chaparral? Somebody sent me a picture of a chaparral on their place at Norris. And let me see. I've tried to get a little bit more organized with my photos, but yeah, it was Matt. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is Matt. This is what Matt was out on. Check out not only, oh, that's too small. Not only the color of the water, but look at that boat. I thought that was a pretty chaparral. I think it's an SSI. I don't remember what model it was, Matt, but, I was like, when he sent me this picture, I'm like, one, that's a beautiful boat, but two, that water is amazing. Okay, so that was you. All right. Again, Brian, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hate to see the season coming to an end. Although, if you're in a climate where the water's nice, I'm telling you that starting Tuesday, you will have the lakes, especially inland lakes. At the coast, it's a little bit different. Down in Florida, it's a lot different. But for the next month, you can have these lakes to yourself. In the most part, the water stays warm for another at least couple weeks, if not another month or two. For me, I can get in the water in mid-October and it just be chilly. But the lakes are empty because everybody's back at school. People are getting their boats winterized, and that's my time to be on the water is weekdays and off season. That's what I like. So, oh wait, I didn't even read Boater Tom. Best boat with Euro look formula, but more for the Social Security. Yeah, on that Splendor. All right, take care. Rich, thanks for joining us. Matt, okay, 21 SSI. Again, I love anybody, if you bought a boat and you used any of my information, I always love seeing the boats. I love seeing where you boat. If it's an action shot of you out enjoying it, I'll show them in the lives. I use them, I'll put them up on social media if it's okay with you. But I love seeing the end result of the videos I create in my extra bedroom, in my office, in my house, and knowing that it makes a difference for people. So, I'm glad you enjoyed that lake series for upcoming vacation. That was the idea. I think it was actually Brian. I think it was you that said, "Hey, what are some lakes down in the Carolinas?" And I mentioned Joe Cassie. I think it was you, but that's what gave me the idea to do that lake series. And I came up with, I think there were 30 lakes that I put on it. So, all right, looks like we are wrapped up. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. Thank you all very much. Thank you for the support, the financial support, everybody. Greatly appreciated. Check out the programs. I always like to deliver value, and the best boat captain programs and the first time boat buyer academy are really, I'm super proud of them. And so thank you guys very much. If you're out tomorrow, be safe, have fun. Make sure before you put those boats away, make sure they're dry inside. Watch my winterization videos, and we'll see you all next Sunday. Take care, everybody.